Mackenzie Jean's hands shook as she withdrew the oversized envelope from her mailbox and raced to the elevator bank. It took her several tries of stabbing at the up button before she managed to call the car, and when the door slid open, she rushed inside and punched the number for her floor. She wanted to tear into the envelope right where she stood, but she forced herself to wait. To occupy her hands and mind, she flipped through the other pieces of mail in the stack, ripping open some bills from utility companies and mentally reminding herself to enroll in paperless billing. Finally, what seemed like eons later, the elevator lurched to a stop, and the doors parted with a ding, spitting her out onto the gray carpeted hallway that led to her condo. Once she was safely ensconced inside, she tossed the remainder of her mail on her large kitchen island and sat on a bar stool. The tremors in her fingers grew with each inch she opened the envelope. The contents shook like leaves on a particularly windy day as she withdrew them. She closed her eyes, sent up a silent prayer, took a deep, steadying breath, and began to read. Dear Miss Jean, after careful review of your application, we are pleased to grant you transfer admission to Michigan State University starting the fall of 2023. With a huge sigh of relief, Kenzie threw the papers in the air in celebration and let out an excited yell as they floated down to the floor around her. She'd done it. She was going back to college. The idea to complete her degree had taken root the previous fall, when Berkeley, her big brother Brent's wife, had decided to go back to school and fully pursue her dream of becoming a sports agent. Since she'd moved to Detroit, Flex had grown from a mom-and-pop business she and Brent operated out of the office in his condo to a nationally recognized brand, thanks in no small part to her. As a woman in her early 20s, she certainly had her finger on the pulse of what was trendy, and social media marketing played a huge role in generating sales. Once she'd convinced Brent to bring on a select group of influencers to act as brand ambassadors, instead of spending an ungodly amount of money on advertising campaigns people would ignore, Flex became a top-tier activewear brand. The real-world, hands-on experience she'd gained by working full-time on Flex with her brother's genius business mind at her side was irreplaceable. Sure, a lot of the success was because her brother was Brent Jean, but Kenzie had also worked endless hours with designers, textile companies, website designers, and marketing representatives to launch Flex into the stratosphere. Brent's name may have been the reason people gave their company a second look, but Kenzie's dogged promotion of their products converted those looks to sales. She was of the mind that if people saw something enough times, they'd be intrigued enough to try it for themselves,